Hello everyone and welcome back to Football Manager 2016. This series is called Can Wales Win the Premier League? The idea is I take a team, only Welsh players, we try and win the Premier League. Is it possible? Well, I didn't win the Premier League, but we got better. Fourth this time. And it was an interesting season for sure. We were the draw specialists. That was our big issue. As you can see, we finished just 7 points off the title, which is not a lot when you think about it, really. Turn some of those draws, say 4 of those draws into a win, or 3 wins and a draw from a loss, and then suddenly we're champions. So it was encouraging. What was pretty good was that we finished 4th, so we're in the Champions League. Well, I mean, we're in the qualifying stage of the Champions League, and hopefully we could get through that next season. But it was very much, again, a season of two halves. We started off fairly poorly in the first half. Let's go to the schedule and I'll show you. We started off fairly poorly in the first half of the season. Lots and lots of draws. That's where the majority of our draws came from, as you can see. Didn't lose too many games. I think until December we'd only lost 1 game in the league. Yeah, and that was against Man City away, which was 2-1 and not disgraceful, I don't think. But just way too many draws. 0-0s, 1-1s. Games which we just couldn't score goals in, with the kind of exceptions of some weird freak results. We were struggling to score. That was the kind of main thing. We were also in the Europa League. I don't know if that had an effect. We did okay in the Europa League. We qualified from our group. I think, did we qualify first? Let's have a look. Group stage. Which group were we in? Let's go back actually have a look. We're in Group L. Okay, let's go to Group L and have a look. Yeah, we qualified first. I thought we did finish first. Amazingly, Atletico Madrid were rubbish. We destroyed them. We got some really good results, as you can kind of see here. Had some not so good results as well. We lost to Lorient, which I thought was going to make us not finish first, but in the end we just hammered Atletico Madrid 5-1. Interestingly, Tom Bradshaw scored 2 hat-tricks in Europe in the group stages, which not too bad. I think, was he the... Where was the goal scorers? Yeah, he was the top goal scorer in Europe, in the Europa League anyway. So that was pretty impressive actually. But going back to the league, so we started off, drew a lot of games. Then we went and had this kind of win-loss kind of thing going on. We lost to good teams. Liverpool ended up winning the league. Tottenham was second. Man City were third, I think. Yeah, Man City was third. So not disgraceful, but if you're going to challenge for the title, there's sort of games you need to draw or win rather than lose without scoring a goal. So that probably summed up our season a little bit there. But then we went on a really good run. We did get some draws, though. That one was the FA Cup. Amazingly drew with Chesterfield. Fair play to them. Beat them in the replay. But we did go on a much better run from then onwards. I think only lost again 1-0 to Liverpool, who, as I say, were champions, so they beat us twice. And if you think they finished 7 points ahead of us and they took 6 points of us, it kind of shows you that those are the sort of games which you can't afford to lose, really. And then, amazingly, our push for 4th came down to the final game of the season. We were level on points with Stoke, and we were 1 point ahead of Man United going into the final game of the season. We had Aston Villa, Stoke had Everton, Man United had Newcastle. So I think we had the easier game for sure, and we were at home. I think Stoke were away, Man United were at home, and so basically we had to win, and Stoke also had a superior goal difference to us, so we had to win and win by more than Stoke by, I think, by 3 goals than Stoke, but Stoke ended up drawing 3-3 with Everton, and we won 3-0, so in the end we got 4th, which is good. I mean, it's good in some ways and it's not so good in others, because our aim is to do it with Welsh players, and we'll go to the squad in a minute and have a look how the squad's doing. But from a club point of view, our overall balance is 110 million. I have a transfer budget of 59 million, but I can't buy anyone because there's no Welsh players. Well, no Welsh players who are better than the team I have currently. That's the thing. So if we go to the team, let's have a look. So as you can see, the majority of the team is Welsh. We still do have some non-Welsh players. Mostly they're players who were with us. In fact, pretty much completely they're Welsh. They're players who were with us when we first started the game. So the rules was I can use the players I currently have in the Cardiff team. I can't buy anybody who isn't Welsh. That was the kind of rules. And ultimately, the team I'm going to have is going to be Welsh. Now, we go and have a look and see who we picked up. Let's have a look. Where are we? Transfer centre, transfer history we need. Okay. Let's go back. What do we want this season? Yeah, we want this season. Okay, so this season, so we picked up Jay De Silva. We have his brother Cole De Silva already. Now, even though he says he's English, he actually is Welsh. So he's Welsh and English. He's also Jamaican as well. But that's allowed. We can, as long as their nationality is Welsh, that's fine. He hasn't played for England. He has played for the under-21s. I'm hoping that at some point I might become Welsh manager and manage to persuade him to be a Welsh player. But we'll see. But he had a pretty good season. I'll go through how everybody had the seasons shortly. We'll just carry on with the transfers. Another one I picked up in the January transfer window, George Williams. Decent player. Started off really well. I think he scored in his first couple of games, but then tired off a little bit. As you can see, he's a winger, and I did actually change my tactics halfway through the season, which could be something to do with the kind of pickup of how we did. I'll go through that as well, kind of how we did tactically. Andy King from Leicester I picked up as well. I didn't really use him, to be honest with you, but I just had loads of money, so I just bought him because he was Welsh, and I thought, well, if people get injured, then he's a backup, isn't he? Ki Sung Young from Valencia, I bought at the beginning of the season. And you might be saying, well, hang on a minute, he's South Korean. Well, yes, he is South Korean, but and he's played 95 times with them, but he's also Welsh, amazingly, because he played for Swansea for a certain number of years and got his English passport, or Welsh passport, sorry. So that was allowed. I can buy him, and he's a very, very good player. He's the best player in my team, so I had to kind of, I guess you could say, bend the rules a little bit there, but I think that's allowed. He's Welsh. I always said, he's Welsh. Another player I picked up, Steve Graham. I think I spoke about him before. Spent a lot on him for someone who was 17 at that time, especially as Crystal Palace had brought him for 37k, and I immediately paid them 4 million for him. But basically, he's got the potential to be kind of world class. He's potentially a wonder kid, and there aren't many of them about who are Welsh, so I had to just spend it. Played him a few times this season. I think I'm going to put him out on loan next season. He's done well. He's picked up. His pace, acceleration, getting good. His finishing's always been pretty good, and his heading's good too. So he's, I think, got the potential to be really, really good. He only scored 1 goal in his 17 Premiership appearances, which isn't great, but I think for perhaps like a 16, 17-year-old in the Premier League, 17, 18-year-old, that's not terrible anyway, and it gives him some match experience. But I think I'm going to send him out on loan to maybe like a League One club next season, and then see how he gets on from there, and hopefully he will start banging the goals in from there. So who else did we get? Picked up Ben Davies at the beginning of the season. I think I went through with him as well. Good Welsh left back. Paul Dunnett, more of a utility player. Adam Henley, right back. Joe Roden, a young Welsh centre back. Could be good. Didn't play him too much. Just sent him on loan and he got some good experience, which is kind of what you want. Did leave me a little bit short at the back by sending him out, but I thought it was better than just having him sit there not getting any games, so you have to take that risk sometime. Tom Lawrence was one who really impressed me actually, because I kind of picked him up on as a backup player, and he came good kind of towards the end of the season. I sent him out on loan to Brighton kind of just before Christmas, because he hadn't really played any games for me and he was getting a bit sulky about it, and so I sent him out to Brighton. He scored a goal, played 3 games. It was only a month alone, and then he came back, and I thought, well, you know what? Now I'm signing George Williams, and I'm changing my tactics. He would actually fit in pretty well, and he did pretty well. 6 goals in 19 games, 7.25 average, 4 assists. I'll take that. That's pretty decent, to be fair. I only paid 1.3 for him, and his stats are going up, and they're not terrible. Now you might be looking at that going, well, he's no Neymar, is he? But for a Welsh player, that's actually pretty good. So he might feature more next season, but it kind of depends a little bit. And then just kind of picked up some more kind of backup players, really. I think who else did I buy? And I was just trying to pick up kind of as many young players as I could. Some of them might not be any good, but the idea was that we, just try and train them up, see what we can get from them. As you can see, I spent 40 million, so I didn't exactly, shy away. Now, I mean, I overspent massively on players. Like Jada Silva was not worth 8 million when I brought him at all. Yeah, he was I think his kind of estimated price was about 500,000, something like that. And I paid 8 million for him because Chelsea just didn't want to sell him, which is fair enough because he's a very good player. He did pretty well for us in the league. He got 8 goals in 28 games, 5 assists, played at a 7.16, which for a 20-year-old is not terrible. And to be fair, most of the time I paid him as an AML rather than a defender, although I did play him in defence as well. So he's quite versatile in that respect, which is pretty good. Very, very pacey, can cross it as well. But also his finishing impressed me too. He was a good finisher, so that was great. And George Williams as well, probably overpaid for him a little bit, although he does seem to be worth more now. But he had a good season with Fulham in the Premier League, which is what kind of pushed me more towards getting him as well, because it's kind of proven Premiership. That's what I need on there as well. So yeah, let's go and have a look at the squad and see how they did this season. What can we have a look at? Let's have a look at who did well this season. So I was fairly happy with how everybody did. I think most of my main players all played well above a 7, which is pretty decent. You can see goals wise, I mean, the one who stands out here is Tom Bradshaw. I don't really understand this guy. Like, he's a bit crap, really. But he scored 32 goals in a season. And you don't do that if you're a bit crap. So I don't really understand it. I mean, look at his current ability. It's just 3 stars. It says he's a quality player. He does seem to play well for me. But I just don't really understand it myself. Obviously, the Euro Cup was the standout there. 13 goals in 12 appearances is phenomenal. 7.77. Europe he loved. As I say, he got 2 hat-tricks in there as well, but he did also score a fair few other goals, especially in the kind of knockout stages for me. Premier League was really, I think, where he let himself down a little bit. 16 goals in 37 games, so he played all but one of my games in the Premier League. And 16 goals is, I think, not really what you're looking for from a main striker, but I just got hopes for this guy that he's just gonna do better, and I don't know. There's no one else, so that's the thing. Like, I mean, there literally is no one else, so he has to. I'll have a look at the Wales squad in a minute and we'll see, but there is no one else. Next highest goal scorer is J.D. Silva, Tom Lawrence, so they were playing as kind of wingers, did well. George Williams as well, so we might get some goals from wing by the looks of it next season, I hope. But overall, pretty good, I think. I think Adam Matthews got player of the season, which is fair. Gets injured a bit, but he's like an assist machine, basically. He got 12 assists in the season. Phenomenal. Ben Davies also played well. So my right back, left back situation is solid. No problems there. Central defence, James Chester played well. Played 52 games this season. I think he played every single game. Just pretty impressive. I think perhaps missed out a couple of games in the European where I might have rested him, but played every single Premiership game for me. Solid, not spectacular, prone to mistakes sometimes, but pretty decent. Joel Lynch was one who surprised me. Brought him as backup. He ended up doing okay for me because I was struggling in that position. The other central defender, really, central defence is a struggle at the minute. Central midfield is probably our strongest position. As I say, we've got Ki Sung Young in there, Amir Hughes, Johnny Williams, Joe Ledley, and Lee Evans. Lee Evans played very well this season. I think it was Ki Sung. He didn't play many games for me. And he played 24 in the league, but he missed a lot of games. He only played 30 games. He was suffering a lot with fatigue as well, especially during the first half of the season, because he was playing a lot of international football and he played in the World Cup, I think, just beforehand, before the season as well. So he was basically knackered for the first half of the season. So Lee Evans came in and did really well, and I was very impressed with him. So he might be somebody who steps up next season, hopefully. Sam Vokes, I think I've got to get rid of this guy. He's just didn't do it for me. 1 goal, 11 appearances. Scored 3 in Europe, but that was a hat-trick. I think he got in 1 game, which is great, but you know, he just didn't do it for me. Not mobile enough, and misses too many headers, which is the thing he should be good at, so not good enough. Jamie Thomas was my kind of backup striker. Did okay. Potentially could be a good striker. Again, somebody I sent out on like a 1 month loan. He only got 1 game, but again, Premier League is where it's a struggle, shall we say. Yeah, I mean, I think one of my standout performances this season was Daniel Ward, the goalkeeper. Picked him up from Liverpool, 775,000, and he did really well in the league, very, very well. 17 clean sheets is decent, and he made some really good saves as well, because my defence is a little bit dodgy in the centre-back position, so very impressed with him there, even though all his stats seem to be going down, which is not great, but I think potentially he's good. So if you're after a good kind of European keeper who you can pick up cheap, I'd recommend him. I think he's pretty good. So yeah, so let's go to the tactics and see how we've been playing in the second half of the season. So we're playing a kind of a 4-2-3-1 with, I mean, I flipped it around a little bit. I still am using the 5-3-2, using that mostly against in some away games. I'm kind of looking tactically at how the other team's being set up and then kind of choosing that appropriately. But this does seem to be becoming my main tactic. The reason why it's becoming my main tactic, and I do still love the 5-3-2, but the fact of the matter is, when you're limited on the people you have to choose the best tactic for them. So in the same way, I think in my top 10 tips I said that like at the beginning, you know, don't necessarily choose the tactic you want to play to begin with. You have to build the team into that. Well, because I'm limited on the players I have, I want to be able to play my best players, because there are no other players. I can't buy in, a million, a 10, 15 million pound striker, because there isn't one who is Welsh. So I can't have a partner up front for Bradshaw. Because I do have good wingers, and I want to use them. So that's what I've been doing. The one position which does worry me slightly is the Johnny Williams position. He didn't have a very good season at all, if I'm honest. I expect more from that sort of attacking midfielder position. That's a position you should be getting goals in, and 1 goal in 28 games, 2 assists and a flat 7 rating is just not good. Played very well last season, really tailed off this season, so something I've got to look at there. Maybe it's going to involve dropping him back, maybe it's going to involve dropping him. Tom Lawrence is a player who can play there, so I might see how he does. I think even George Williams as well can potentially could drop in there, but I don't think he's that sort of player. He's definitely more of a winger. So yes, that's kind of how I've been set up really, and also going more on the kind of counter-attacking style, not completely counter-attacking. Sometimes we'll go more attacking, but definitely look at kind of getting to the team on the break, closing them down, getting that possession back, and then hitting them very quickly. It seemed to be doing pretty well. As I say, my results in the second half of the season were much better. Could just be because teams were setting up to play me as I was playing in a 5-3-2. Could be because this tactic generally is working out for me with the players I've got. We'll have to kind of wait and see next season, see what happens there. In terms of how I did in all the competitions, we were knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Euro Cup, which was disappointing, but Colne are a very good side. What was the result in the end? I think it was fairly close. Yeah, so as you see, we drew 3-3, we lost 3-2. So they did well. I think they're in the final, and I think they're probably going to win it. In English FA Cup, we got knocked out in the 6th round by Liverpool. Again, Liverpool, our nemesis, just beat us every game. I really need to find a way to beat them if I'm going to have a hope of winning the league. And then knocked out in the 3rd round by Swansea in the league as well, which hurt a lot, as you can see. In terms of who I've got coming through, youth-wise, Peter Hanbury, he could be good. 17 at the minute, potential to be awesome. I think he came through the youth ranks, so he is a proper Cardiff player. He was born in Newport, but he was, came through my youth ranks and is a homegrown player. Not too many others though, worryingly. I think I've got one in my under-18s who looks like he could be very good. A lot of trash though. Michael Parry, 16 at the minute, right back. Potential to be really good. Again, come through the youth ranks as well, which is good. And Tom Giggs, great name. I signed him up just on the name alone, and could be good. We have to see. I have to do a lot of training with them. And of course, I still have got Steve Graham, the striker as well. So, what's the plan for next season? What can we do? Well, I mean, if we go to scouting, we'll see. In terms of the players we can buy, we're pretty limited. Now, the one who's popped up all of a sudden since we qualified for the Champions League, Aaron Ramsey. He's 27. He's valued at 32 million, but he is interested in coming. So I've got a £60 million budget, and I'm going to give it a go and try and sign him. He only played 22 games, so he's not in favour, but he still had a very good season. And he could be the difference maker, basically. I hope so, anyway. In terms of who there is who isn't interested, well, there's only one, Gareth Bale. I don't know if he will ever be interested. We can only hope. I don't know if I'd ever be able to sign him. But we can hope. But in terms of what else there is, there's not much available, to be honest with you. Tyler Roberts is somebody who I may try and steal. I had him before actually on loan. Didn't do that well, but he was like 16 at the time, so you can let him off. But good, quick, young, 19 and hasn't really progressed that much, so might leave it, but we'll see. But yeah, apart from that, there's not much else available to me, so I've got to kind of work with what I've got, but promising signs, I think. And if I could get Ramsey, we'd have to see how that would do. In terms of how we're doing one of the great things, actually, to be fair, is this squad now is entirely Welsh. So, ish. But most of the teams I play now is entirely Welsh. So, I think I could go next season. Yeah, in fact, I definitely can go next season without playing anybody who isn't Welsh. I'm going to get rid of Macheda. Bruno, is he actually Welsh? No, he's not. So he's going to have to go. I'm going to have to get rid of him. Rules is going to go. I barely played him this season. He's a very good player though. But I really only played him towards the beginning of the season. Ben Turner's going to go. And Lee Peltier's going to go as well. So we'll pretty much just have a entirely Welsh team. And in terms of how we're doing for the national team, where are we? Here we go. Yeah, so we kind of dominate it, I think. Joe Walsh is an interesting one. He's been worth a lot. He had a terrible season though this season, I think, and I just don't really rate him. I've got a scout report going on him to have a look. We'll see. He might be somebody I pick up. We'll see though. But in terms, otherwise, there's not too much I'm interested in at the minute. Jake Taylor is mine. He's just on loan. Chris Maxwell, not really interested. Got a good Welsh keeper, so I don't need those two. Ashley Williams, for me now, a little bit past it, too old. Yeah, still decent stats to be fair, but I don't think he'd come to us. He's too Swansea, if you know what I mean. Harry Wilson is a player I am interested in. I know he's got very good potential, so he might be somebody I try and snap up from Liverpool for the right price. Liam Cullen, he's a player, did okay with Portsmouth, but it's League One. Might be a player who I'd try and get. Kind of depends on how the Aaron Ramsey thing goes. I'll either have a lot of money to spend or I won't have any money to spend. We'll see on that one. And Chris Gunter, I think for the money, definitely not worth it. I think I'd end up paying like 5 million for him, and that he's not a £5 million player, so not really interested there. Got plenty of players who can play in his position, so yeah. Otherwise, you pretty much dominate the entire Welsh scene at the minute. Chris Coleman, unbelievably, is still the manager. I've never seen an international manager stay like this long. It's incredible. They've got the World Cup to play. The World Cup's this year. So I think when I was saying about Ki Sung, he played, I think it was like the Asian Cup or something like that he played in and was absolutely knackered from it. So the World Cup's this year. My hope is that Chris Coleman does terribly with Wales and he ends up getting fired so I can take on the Welsh job, because I think that would really help you just snap up all the best Welsh talent. But unbelievably, like, he's still the Welsh manager. They just love him. I think it's because basically I'm keeping him in the job because all my players are playing really well and I'm discovering all this kind of Welsh talent, bringing them in, they're playing games, so his Welsh team's getting stronger as a result of it. I don't think it's him, but not that I'm holding a grudge against him, but hopefully I'll be able to take on that job because I think that would really help me out if I was the Welsh manager as well. But otherwise in the club, I've just been trying to focus on improving my youth facilities. I've been trying to get affiliate clubs, but I don't know what it is. I seem to struggle with the last two football managers. I seem to be struggling with actually getting affiliate clubs. It seemed to be much easier in the previous ones. I don't know if it's bugged or something, but it's like they seem to turn around and go, yeah, sure, you can have an affiliate club, and then I never hear anything back from them, and then I can't ask them again for like another 6 months. So I don't know what's going on there. but it would be good to have one so I could actually send a group of players there, to a club in a league I'm comfortable with, that kind of thing. We have improved the youth facilities. I need to improve them further. They are pretty good at the minute, actually, if we have a look. So youth facilities are superb, and training facilities are impressive. Ideally I want to get up to like world-class level. Average junior coaching, I've been trying to get that up, but it can be difficult sometimes. So I do have 2 affiliates. I think I got Hamilton, which one? I think I had to get the club to choose that team. So I have been sending some players on loan there as well. Most of the players I don't want, but we'll see how they get on. I don't have the Welsh League activated. I don't think so. I can't see how they've done in the league, but hopefully they didn't get relegated, because that would be bad for my affiliates. But otherwise, just been trying to spend money. We're going to be buying the stadium. I don't know how much that's going to cost us. We're on 110 million. I don't think it's been taken out so far. And you can see we've certainly been making the money. And going in the Champions League, we just recently got 31 million for finishing 4th, which is not too bad. And we only paid out 1.9 million in bonuses, so can't complain at that. We're obviously going to get a good chunk of money from the Champions League as well. Hopefully we can get into group stages, that is. That would be pretty good. So otherwise, not really too much else to report on, I don't think. I think next season is the kind of make or break now. We're going into it where it's like I've got no one left to buy. If I wanted to focus on my youth team players, I'm going to have to wait like 5 seasons just to bring them through, and there aren't that many of them anyway. So I think next season is kind of make or break for the league. And then, I mean, the question is then, where do I go on from the league? I mean, is the Champions League harder to win? I guess it is. So maybe I go on there and try and do that. I don't know if I'm even going to win the league next season. If I start off, if you can see the league positions here, if I start off how I did this season, where, if we'd have had some good early season form, we could have won the league this season, basically. I mean, if you think about it, 76 points is not very high. We lost the least games in the league, along with Tottenham. We just drew way too many of them. If we go to the league, actually, I'll show you the full table here. So, biggest problem, scoring goals. These guys, all scored way more goals than us and conceded less. So, apart from Liverpool. So, 21 goal difference compared to these guys in their 30s is the kind of the main issue there, I think. Oh, sorry, go back there. I want to click on that. Home, not so good. Away. Let's put it in the league. Sorry. So, home. Sorry, did I do that under... behind? Oh, well, I broke that now. But so Champions League qualification. We finished the season fairly strongly. I think we did have that loss to Liverpool, but otherwise we finished the season pretty well. In the second half of the season, we did pretty well. So pretty happy with that. Team report for the season. Most used formation, 4-3-3 wide. I think that's pretty similar to this, really. It's saying that's my most successful. Most vulnerable to the 4-4-2. Most common assist type was the cross. No surprise there. 46% of my assists were crosses. Do hit a lot of crosses from the left wing mostly as well. I'd say it's probably not too far off 40% for the right wing either. Seem to score early on, which is good, but then we lose it in the 60th, 75th minute. So it's maybe something I've got to work on. And this is quite telling here, I think, as well. Best attribute, strength, which is good, although only ranked 9th. But our worst attributes are the worst in the Premier League for leadership. So maybe something I've got to work on a little bit there. But an average age of 25. probably doesn't help that too much. So we'll see there. Form player at the minute, Ki-sung, as I say, he had a really good second half of the season after he got over the kind of fatigue issues he had. Adam Matthews was our highest average rate. Tom Bradshaw, the enigma, Tom Bradshaw, 32 goals in a season. I mean, you don't score 32 goals in a season if you're crap, do you? But yet he is a bit crap. So, I don't know. Consistency, I think, that sums him up pretty well. Just consistently. He doesn't go like long spells without scoring a goal, but he'll go like 2-3 games quite often. And then suddenly he'll score 1 or 2 goals. Like in the last game of the season, he scored 2 goals and got an assist, and suddenly I'm like, yeah, this guy's world class. But probably like the 3 games before that, he just didn't score at all or do anything. So it's kind of a bit like that, really. But just consistently kind of a 7, if that makes sense. So I think that kind of sums it. I'm actually looking forward to next season. I think it's going to be good. We're going to try and get Ramsey. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I don't even know if I can pay the wages there. My highest earner at the minute is scroll up to the top, that would help, 48,000. Not a lot, really. So I think Aaron Ramsey would probably be asking for well over 100. So we'll see. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you've got any comments, any tips, hints, or just any questions, leave a note and I'll try and answer them. Thanks a lot.